Baseball and the movies after this on Viewpoints.
Remember the days when we used to make macaroni art for Mom or re-gift items found around the house for Mother's Day? This year, show Mom how much you appreciate her and all that she does with flowers from Pro Flowers. Pro Flowers is offering listeners 100 blooms with a free glass vase for just $19.99. Or make her day extra special and upgrade to a premium vase and add chocolates for just $9.99 more. Go to proflowers.com today and use my code VP. Their easy-to-use website makes buying a beautiful gift for Mom simple and quick. Pro Flowers are guaranteed to be fresh and beautiful for at least 7 days. You just choose the delivery date you want, and it's guaranteed. Here is the only way to get 100 blooms with a free glass vase for just $19.99. Visit proflowers.com, click the blue microphone in the top right corner, and type in VP. That's proflowers.com. Click on the microphone and type in VP. Order today. This offer expires Friday at midnight.
The baseball season's been underway for about a month now, and millions of Americans will head to the ballpark this spring and summer to take in the sport that's been called America's pastime. It also seems to be our favorite pastime when it comes to sports movies. Sure, there are films about basketball, football, golf, track, and other sports, but baseball is a game that seems to lend itself to film. We wondered why it's such a popular film topic and what it takes to make a really good baseball movie these days. Brother Jerry Molyneux is a professor of communications at LaSalle University in Philadelphia, where he teaches courses in film criticism. He's also a prolific author who's written books on Charlie Chaplin, Jimmy Stewart, Gregory Peck, and John Sayles, director of the baseball film 8 Men Out. He says that baseball, more than other sports, can be the foundation of a great many different film genres.
They seem to just fit into that context. Maybe it's because it's traditionally America's pastime, and that we can see the other things about our country in the context of that pastime. We've had baseball comedies. We've had romance. The comedies would be things like Bad News Bears, and it happens every spring. Romance would be like Bull Durham. We've had movies about business and corruption, Moneyball, The Natural, 8 Men Out. So it has the possibility of, allowing for other narratives.
One of those narratives is prejudice, and Molyneux cites the comedies The Bingo Long, Traveling All-Stars, and Motor Kings, and A League of Their Own.
I just showed 2 films this year about prejudice. One was Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, which is why the African Americans had to form a league of their own. And just in saying that, I'm referencing the other film about women trying to break into baseball, and the title of that film, A League of Their Own, and getting a chance to show how strong and athletic women are and were.
There are also popular nonfiction films that tug on the heartstrings, such as The Pride of the Yankees with Gary Cooper playing the ailing Lou Gehrig, and The Stratton Story about Monty Stratton, the former Chicago White Sox pitcher who lost his leg in a hunting accident. One of the most popular genres are what Molyneux calls the baseball business film, that shows the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of the game.
8 Men Out, Moneyball, even The Natural, which is about individuals trying to live up to the American dream within the context of baseball, the American sport, but finding obstacles to that. There's Moneyball set in the big city. A lot of tensions in the film, though. Moneyball allows for the traditional things, the little guy trying to make it. It really is. Billy Bean in that film is David to the Goliath of the baseball world, of baseball traditions. He takes on the whole system.
Having a good storyline and compelling characters played by talented actors are necessary in any film that wants to be successful. For one man, though, it takes something else to make a really good baseball film.
To me, a good baseball movie is one that has good baseball players.
That's Mark Donahue, author of the novel Last at Bat and screenwriter for the upcoming film based on the book. He's also a lifelong player of the game and was a member of 5 men's Senior Baseball League world champion teams.
A couple of the baseball movies I have seen are pretty bad. There's some really bad baseball movies out there, and typically they're bad because the characters can't play ball. And if you have played baseball and you know what it is to swing a bat and how somebody throws, and you see somebody on screen who can't, to me it ruins the movie. the Lou Gehrig story, the Iron Horse, whatever the name of that movie was, with Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper was an awful athlete, and he couldn't play baseball, and to me it ruined the story. The Babe Ruth story with William Bendix. William Bendix was an awful baseball player, and to me, when I saw him swing the bat in the first 5 minutes, it ruined the story for me. And there's been a number of those. The Babe Ruth story with John Goodman. For John Goodman, he was not a good baseball player. So to me, a good baseball movie is one that has good baseball players.
There are a number of realistic baseball movies that Donahue and Molyneux say show the game being played as it should be, mainly due to the athletic talents of Kevin Costner and Robert Redford, respectively.
I thought the greatest baseball movie of all time was Bull Durham because it told a story, it had a great backstory, had great stars in it, but it was the most realistic baseball film I had ever seen because mainly Kevin Costner could play baseball, and you could tell. He had a great swing. He was a switch hitter. He threw. In that particular movie, he was a catcher, but he was an infielder and had played minor league baseball. So those kinds of things all connect, I think, to resonate with a large number of people. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you've played the game, you understand the game. You understand things other people don't get.
I just showed The Natural a couple of weeks ago, and I was really impressed by Redford's performance. He does know how to swing a bat. He's got a sweet swing, and he does know how to throw a baseball and follow through on it. He's got a good arm and knows how to move that ball and follow through. They look like ball players.
Donahue is determined to make his film ring true by having tryouts for some of the roles in the film. He tried to find the lead character, Dylan Michael, at various ages in his life. But the usual Hollywood audition strategy didn't work.
We found guys who could really act. They were very good, but they didn't know how to pick up a bat, or they couldn't throw, or if they did, they weren't convincing. Maybe they had played, a couple of years in Little League or something, and they just weren't convincing. So last year, during the Little League World Series on TV, I was watching these young men, 11, 12 years old, being interviewed on TV, and they were funny, and they were self-deprecating. They had that athletic swagger without being arrogant. They were funny, all these things. And I told our director, G. Joe Reed, I said, what are we doing? Let's get those guys. They can play Dylan. We can act them up. And some of them actually have some backgrounds in acting.
Donahue says that the production team will hold baseball tryouts at various cities around the country this year to come up with just the right players to portray the lead character and his teammates throughout his baseball career. He's tying the tryouts to an increasingly popular approach to raising money for the film, crowdfunding. Donahue says that films by Spike Lee, Tom Hanks, and Steven Spielberg, to name just a few, use crowdfunding to cover pre-production costs and to attract investors. The funding for his new baseball film, though, is being done with a twist.
We are creating something called The Search for Dylan Michael. And if people want to go to our website at lastatbatthemovie.com, they can see our program laid out. And anybody who donates to our film, they not only get some pretty cool gifts, but they also get a pass to one of our tryouts. They can give it to somebody, they can use it themselves. And they can come in and they can try out, and this is a baseball tryout. Our first criteria is, can you play? Now, if you can play, the second part of this, we're going to have casting directors on site. They will interview the players that we think have the look, have the personality that we're looking for. But we're not looking for necessarily the best baseball player. We're looking for a young man or woman who has all the above. They have a good personality, they're comfortable in front of a camera, they have the right look that we are seeking for that role. We are going to be seeking young women who can play baseball to be opponents or teammates of Dylan when he's growing up.
Donahue says that the response to the film and the tryouts have been great. And why not? People love baseball in all its incarnations, from novels to films, and of course, the game itself. It's something we share as a nation. And that's another reason Donahue thinks that baseball, more than any other sport, has enjoyed such popularity in the movies over the years.
Baseball in and of itself as a sport is something that everybody can play. You don't have to be 6'10" or weigh 300 pounds. Some of the greatest players, Hank Aaron and others, were normal-sized guys. Pete Rose. You could go on and on. They're 5'10", 5'11". They're every man. But they have, certain abilities that the rest of us don't have. But because just about every young boy and woman now, and that's changed in the last 20 years, has picked up a bat and swung it to varying degrees of success. And because of that, I think we're all linked to baseball in some way in our childhood. And then when baseball comes in the spring, it's a rebirth, and you can't wait to get out on the grass and play again. There's just something about the game that connects us all together.
Despite the fact that baseball films run the gamut from romance to mystery to business and beyond, Molyneux says that there is one genre that the game hasn't cracked.
A film noir in baseball. One of those 1950s kind of murder mysteries taking place in that context. They haven't done that yet, so that's still open.
You can find Brother Jerry Molyneux's unauthorized biography of John Sayles online and find out more about him on LaSalle University's website at lasalle.edu. To learn more about Mark Donahue, his book, and the upcoming film, and the schedule for the tryouts around the country, visit his site at lastatbatthemovie.com. For information about all of our guests, visit our site at viewpointsonline.net. You can also find archives of past programs there and on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm Gary Price.
Pets do so much for their owners all year long. During May, National Pet Month, Nestle Purina Pet Care is encouraging pet owners to paw it forward by spending more quality time with their own pets and helping pets in need. Pro football wide receiver Eric Decker and his wife, country music star Jessie James Decker, have joined the Paw It Forward movement, and you can too, just by uploading a photo or video of you and your pet to www.pureloveforpets.com. Through May 31st, Nestle Purina Pet Care will donate $1 to the Pet Finder Foundation for every valid pet photo and video uploaded to the website, up to $30,000. The Pet Finder Foundation helps pets in shelters find their forever homes. Through June 1st, consumers can also play an online sweepstakes for a chance to instantly win great prizes, including Purina coupons or a Tag GPS pet tracker. Pet owners can also find daily tips on ways to celebrate National Pet Month with their own four-legged friends. Find out more and enter now at pureloveforpets.com. That's pureloveforpets.com.